Hi, welcome, it's Nika, how are you? And today we're going to be talking about my Shop My Stash. So if you're new around here, essentially a Shop My Stash is where I pick a whole big makeup basket that I'm going to be using for a whole month, test out all the products that are in my existing makeup collection, and review them for you, and let you guys know if my opinions have changed on them, if I ended up loving them even more, or finding out if they're expired and having to throw them away. That is the vibe of today's video. So January's just passed. Oh my gosh, I know a lot of people have said like, oh, January is one of the longest months for them, but January has always been, and always will, probably will be, the busiest month of my life. I have so many birthdays. I have a birthday like almost every single week, like a birthday a week throughout the whole month of January, so it's always been super busy for me. But it gave me a prime opportunity to play on with makeup many times. So without further ado, we're going to go and review all the makeup looks I have created using my January Shop My Stash.
Are you still there? To delete this message, press 7. To save it in the archives, press 9. To hear more options, press 0. What are you talking about?
And we're back. Just been drinking my cup of tea. Anyway, so yeah, those were all the makeup looks I have created throughout the whole month of January. And before I go pick out my February Shop My Stash basket, let's review all the different products that I've used throughout the whole month of January. The e.l.f. Jelly Pop Dew Primer. Love this primer, it smells amazing. I think it did a pretty good job holding down and becoming a base for my makeup. I love it. I have a mini version and a full version. The mini version I purposely used for when I have been traveling, and it's great because it's so compact. I don't have to bring the full size, and yeah, I do really like this product. So the sunscreen I use on a day-to-day basis is the Beauty of Joseon sunscreen. In combination with this, if I didn't let this sink into my skin first, they often would peel and congeal, so that's just something to note. But really nice product, very sticky. I like it. I love the smell. But yeah, enjoy using it. Okay, so for foundation, I actually have two, which I know is going to be weird because if you watch my previous Shop My Stash video, I only picked one, and the one that I picked was this Barry M Fresh Face foundation in the shade number 5. I love this stuff. I love how it looks on my skin, and I love how it has hyaluronic acid and has some good skincare benefits. And I felt that it did a good job being like an everyday skin tint. Will say though, shade 5, I don't know if it's just because it's a little bit more neutral. It did come off across a little bit darker on my skin, or at least when it came out of the bottle. But of course, when blended out, because it's such a sheer formula, it blended in nicely and evened out my skin tone. But yeah, that's the only thing I guess I would mention for this product, but I really did enjoy using this. However, in the later weeks of January, I started to really miss wearing a full coverage foundation, specifically a matte full coverage foundation, which I know it's kind of weird and funny because in the last Shop My Stash video I talked about how much I was a concealer gal. I was like, yeah, I'm such a concealer girl now, I just use concealer. And then January came along and I was like, actually I really want to use a matte foundation. So yeah, I ended up adding this product into my January Shop My Stash, which is the MUA Pro Base Longwear Matte Finishing Foundation. Love this stuff. I don't know what it was, but I was just inclined to use it, and I haven't done this before, I don't think, but I just thought, you know what, I'm in the mood to use this so much. I added it to my Shop My Stash basket mid-month, and I love this product. It's great. It's almost like a natural matte finish depending on how much of it you use, and it gave me such a beautiful matte even skin tone. And because it was a matte foundation, I didn't need to powder my face because I'm lazy. I didn't need to do that. And it just wore beautifully on my skin. There was a time where I thought I put too much on, and that was when I went to go see Rocky Horror with my best friend for her birthday. But I felt like I put too much on, so I went back to the way that I used to use this foundation, which was put like like between 2 to 4 little dots. And oh my gosh, I have never fallen back in love with a product like this. And it just wore beautifully on my face. It looked great. And yeah, it just reminded me how much I love this product. And funny enough, this was the first foundation I bought for myself when I first started out using makeup, which was, it's crazy to think about. I want to say 5 years, but I know it's not 5 years because it's not 5 years ago. Probably almost like 8 years ago. I had a different shade. I had the shade 146 before buying a different foundation, and then before buying this shade. And this shade still matches me really, really well today, and they still sell this product. Okay, so for concealer, I have the NYX Bear With Me Concealer Serum in the shade Beige. Really, really like this stuff. I really enjoy using this concealer. I have found out though, like, even though I'm more of a beige sort of gal, this is quite light on me, quite light on the under eyes, so I had to use this quite sparingly. I didn't use it for spot concealing or anything, I just exclusively use this under the eyes. Do want to get some more use out of it still. I feel like it's still got a lot of potential, but it's very difficult to unlock the potential when it's still a little bit lighter than your normal skin tone, but we'll make it work, so we'll see this again in future rotations. Contour and blush. So for contour, I have the Barry M Cream and Powder and Contour Duo. Didn't really get to use this much. When I did, it was fine. I do feel like the cream contour kind of just blends away a little bit. But I feel like, I don't know if it's just because I was applying it wrong. And this is the shade Light, and I think, I'm not gonna lie, I do think it's a little bit too light for me. I'm gonna give this one more chance, and if I feel like I just don't get enough use out of it, I'm just gonna declutter it. I do have another one in the shade Medium, which I think suits me a bit more, but I want to get more use out of them before deciding to declutter this. I also have the e.l.f. Putty Bronzer in the shade Honey Drip. Love this stuff. I love this bronzer, but I do feel like it's not as full coverage, or it doesn't have the most pigment than what it used to have when I first used it. I don't know if it's because I've used a lot of it and it's drying up a little bit, but it doesn't have as much coverage or as much warmth as I want it to be. Honestly, this could be used as a cream contour shade with how neutral it is for me, but I think I want to get a little bit more use out of it first. I do have another one in a different shade. See how I feel about that before I declutter or decide the fate of this e.l.f. Putty Bronzer, because I don't want to keep it if it's not going to do the job that I want, or I don't want to keep it if I'm just not going to like it. So we'll see. Okay, so for blush, I have the Barry M Hazy Sunset blushes and one Made by Mitchell blush. So the Made by Mitchell blush, is the shade Melon Sorbet. Really, really like using the shade. I do find that it is a little bit light and it's very peachy, but because of how pigmented it is, I find that you can make this work and is really, really pretty on the skin. It's great if I've got more of a dramatic eye look or a dramatic lip colour, but if I wanted more dramatic looking cheeks or wanted a bit more a flush of colour, I don't think it's a good enough shade to do that. But it's super, super pretty, super pigmented, like blends out like a dream. Really, really do like this, but I do want to get more use out of it, and I want to see if it really is a shade that I would wear. Usually I really like peachy tones. Like peachy tones are like one of my favorite shades, especially a couple years ago. But now that I'm a little bit older, is it something I'm going to be interested in? We'll see. So we'll probably see that in future rotations. The other two blushes are the Barry M Hazy Sunset blushes. So I have the shade Evening Days and Horizon Glow. Oh, this is Evening Days. Love that. It's more of a mauvey colour. And then Horizon Glow is just a straight up pink. Love it. Evening Days was my favourite. In terms of longevity, I think with the right products, it can last a good while. But because it's such a... It kind of reminds me of a balm. It's like a creamy balm formula, which I don't mind. I quite like it. I quite enjoy this formula, but I don't necessarily think it's the most long-lasting. But if you don't mind reapplying, definitely give this a try. Setting spray. This is the e.l.f. Stay All Night Microfine Setting Spray. I really enjoy this. Don't like the smell still. I'm not a big fan of the smell. I don't know why, it just isn't for me, but I love the mister. Super, super, like, fine. And I love how it sets my makeup. Doesn't feel like I'm gonna get doused. The only thing I just don't understand is the ball. Eyeshadow palettes. So I have 3 eyeshadow palettes. So the first one being the Charlie Betty Beauty The Earth palette. Gorgeous color story. However, I really only used the more neutral side on this, specifically the middle shade, Grain, Grounded Foundations, and the Duochrome shade in Capricorn. I really do enjoy this palette. The only issue is that it's super bulky and I just didn't really reach for it more. So I am contemplating whether just to put this in my, like, I have like a little box where I collect makeup. I am contemplating whether I should put that in there as a collector's piece more than just something to keep in my makeup collection, because I didn't really get a lot of use out of it. The other palettes in my rotation and actually used is the Makeup by Tammy Chasing Butterflies palette. Super pretty. Look at those shades. Oh, I love them. My boyfriend got this for me, I think from either Christmas or birthday a few years back. Love the color story. It's super, super pretty. I actually used a lot of the shimmers. I've used a different combination of these colors, especially when I was out traveling to Edinburgh for mine and my boyfriend's joint birthday trip. I actually used this a lot whilst I was there, and it made me realize how much I really enjoyed wearing color again, and to also not be as scared to wear color in public. So really enjoy using this palette. I love this palette. This is my MUA Andromeda Skies palette. You can see how much I love it. The writing's coming off, but the shimmers are so pretty. It's just such a versatile palette. For £3.50, you can't go wrong. It's a 5-shade pan palette of, you know, decent mattes. Like, they're very decent. They're not the best in the world. They won't be for the price, but the shimmers. Ooh, the shimmers though are the showstoppers. Look at them. So good. I love traveling with this. Great palette to just put in your bag if you needed to touch up your eyeshadow. Super versatile because of how, for me, because I like how smoky this is, I don't have to wear a smoky eye look, but I have the choice to wear a smoky eye look. I can use these for eyeliner if I really needed to, for my brows. Great palette, love it. So my favourite lip products to wear this month was these the Body Shop Sheer Touch Lip and Cheek Tints in the shade Brave and Power. I loved wearing these under my other lip products, and because they're a lip tint, it doesn't matter if the lipstick or the lip gloss on top of it wore off. There was still a lasting colour underneath. It wasn't too drying. Super pretty colours and super, like, what's the word? Pigmented when you put it on. And I really enjoyed using these. I also have a NYX Smooth Whip Matte Lip Cream in the shade Velvet Robe. Super, super pretty. I loved wearing this on top of the Body Shop lip tint in the shade Power. I just felt super powerful with this on, and it just really, I don't know, I just love the colour. Super soft on the lips. Would highly want to use this again. And finally, I have the Milani lipstick. This is a colour statement lipstick in the shade Bunny Rose. And honestly, I think this is one I might declutter. I just didn't use it, and I felt like when I have put it on, the colour is just, it feels off with me. I don't know if it's just because it's much more cool toned. It's a much more cool toned lip colour, and I just felt like it didn't suit me. So I feel like this might go in the declutter pile. I'm gonna give it a few more tries. I might even just put it in my February Shop My Stash for a little bit just to check it out. But if I don't like it, I think this is gonna go in the chopping block. But yeah, if you don't see this in my collection, it's gone. So yeah, that's how I feel about this. And yeah, that is all of my makeup products from my January Shop My Stash. Now let's go pick all the makeup products for my February Shop My Stash. Okay, so here is the first drawer of my makeup collection. So for primer, I want to use this. This is the MUA Pro Base Hyaluronic Acid Jelly Primer. I've used this before, as you can tell, but I've not used this in a long time because I was in the process of panning a different primer. But now that I think that primer's done, I want to put this in rotation, so yes. Okay, so for foundations, because I was able to use a skin tint and a full coverage foundation throughout the whole month of January, I want to do the same in the month of February. So for the skin tint products, I want to use the Rimmel Kind & Free Skin Tint Foundation. I've got it in the shade Vanilla and in the shade Soft Beige. Vanilla has the right undertone, but it's too light for me, while Soft Beige is just a little bit too dark. And the annoying thing is there's no in-between shades in Rimmel Foundation, so I'm just going to work with these, see if I like them. If not, they might go on the chopping block. But yeah, in the February Shop My Stash basket they go. And for the full coverage foundation, I want to use the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop full coverage foundation. So funny story, this used to be in my makeup collection way back when I started getting really into makeup. And actually when I first started my Instagram account, this used to be my go-to foundation, and I actually decluttered it a while ago before I was moving house, or just before moving house. Is it just before moving house? But it was a while ago, and it hasn't been in my collection for a good year or two. And recently, for some reason, I've just been craving and wanting to use some of my older foundations, but because for some reason in this month of January I've been really thinking about my more classic matte foundations I used to love when I was younger, I decided to bring this back in my collection. So I'm very excited to see if my feelings for it has changed or remained the same. So in the basket it goes. And for concealer, I don't have many, but this is the concealer I would like to use in the month of February. So this is the Rose Ink Concealer. This is in the shade LX900. Oh, also, I didn't mention the NYX one is in the shade Buff. But yeah, anyway, the Rose Ink one, I've never owned a high-end concealer before, and I treated myself to this product for my birthday because I really want to try some Rose Ink products. So I'm very excited to see what this does, and also I just really like the packaging. I don't know, it's just an interesting shape, and hence why I bought it as well. But yeah, I'm excited to see how this does on my face. Okay, so on to powders. So I'm going to be using, I think, the number 7 powder. This is the Flawless Finishing Press powder in the shade Medium. I think this is the perfect shade for me, at least at this time of year, so I'm excited to see what this product does for me. And then for bronzers, which they live here, next to my blushes, I'm going to be using this product. This is the MUA Cream Bronzer in the shade Caramel, which looks like so. Okay, so down here is my blush collection, and the blushes I'm going to use, I always use 3. The first one being the MUA Blushed Liquid Blush in the shade Taupe Tango, which is this gorgeous, like, nudie shade. Oh, look at that. I am very excited to use that. And then I'm also going to be using 2 of the Made by Mitchell blushes. I've got the shade Cherry Cola, which looks like so. Oh, look at that. Oh, I'm so excited to use that. And I've also got the shade A Shy Boy, which is very, very similar but slightly lighter, so I'm very excited to use both of these. Okay, so for highlighter, which is just back here, I'm going to be using the NYX High Glass Highlighter in the shade Moon Glow, which is one of my absolute favourite glowy highlighters. Super pretty and can be super subtle. Love it. So I'm very excited to use this. So I have a list of lip products I want to use in the month of February. So I had to write this down because I've got so many lip products and it was very difficult for me to decide on the spot. So I took 10 minutes just to really think about what I want to use. So the first one being the e.l.f. Sheer Slick lipstick in the shade Cherry Slush. Love, love, love the shade. Excited to use this. The next lipstick is the Rimmel Matte Lasting Finish lipstick in the shade Chestnut Rose, which looks like this. Oh, gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Where is it? Not that one. That one is the NYX Smooth Whip lipstick in the shade Parfait. I'm so excited to use that. The next one is this Milani lipstick in the shade Teddy Bear. I actually have used this only a couple times, but I want to get some more use out of it and to see if I actually really, really like this product. So yes. So the next product is the e.l.f. Glossy Lip Stain in the shade Pinkies Up. Pretty, pretty, pretty. I'm pretty excited to use that. And I've decided to put 2 lip oils / glosses, which is my Barry M oil infused lip glosses. I've got it in the shade So Precious and So Intriguing. So I'm excited to use these. I've used these a couple of times, but I haven't put them in rotation yet. So we'll see if I like these lip oils. So that is So Precious, and this is So Intriguing. Oh, I'm not gonna lie. So Intriguing. It's calling out to me, you guys. It's calling out to me. That is everything for lipsticks, but I completely forgot to show you guys the setting spray. So the setting spray I'm choosing is the Barry M Fresh Face Fixation Spray, which looks like this. Okay, so these are all of my eyeshadow palettes. So I have a lot, I know. This is not the average person's like eyeshadow palette collection, but eyeshadow palettes is one of the things I actually love collecting and I enjoy using. So I have chosen 3 palettes. So the first one is the Lois Cosmetics Rose Metal palette. So my boyfriend actually got this for me as a present a few years ago now, but I just thought this is the perfect palette for February, especially with it being Valentine's Day. And I've definitely been into more of my more grungier, pinkier tones. I know that Beauty Bay recently just came out with the Reckless Romantic palette, and not gonna lie, I am considering it, but we shall see. The really sad thing is though, I don't think you can buy this eyeshadow palette anymore from Lois Cosmetics, but this is definitely a really, really pretty palette. And if you somehow can get your hands on it, definitely get it because it's so pretty and the shimmers are just the best. So yes, that's one. And speaking of Lois Cosmetics, the second one in my rotation for this February is the Meet Me in the Underworld palette. This is one of like my favourite all-time eyeshadow palettes ever. A lot of my fellow makeup creators online raved about this palette, so I bought it and I love it. I love it a lot, and I love the greens, the pinks, the grunge colours, and I feel like this is perfect for what I want, and it's the mood that I'm currently in at the moment, so excited to see what looks I can create using this palette. Finally, I'm also picking my Unicorn Cosmetics Angel palette. I don't think Unicorn Cosmetics sell this anymore. I apologise, but like there's a reason why I'm picking it. Not only has it got pretty artwork because it's Valentine's Day themed, but because it's like love heart themes, it's got little hearts like engraved onto the actual palette. Look at that. It's so good. yeah, and I love these colours. Love it. I love how there's a bit more variation. I know it's very similar to the palettes that I've already chosen, but this is just the palette I want to use. So yeah, this is going in my February Shop My Stash rotation. So yeah, that is my February Shop My Stash. Back to me filming the outro. So yeah, those are all of the makeup products I'm using for my February Shop My Stash. I guess we shall see what happens and see how I feel about them. Spoiler alert, I've already tried them on my face for a video that's coming out after this one, but we shall see how I truly feel about them at the end of the month. So yeah, that is the end of this video. Thank you all so much for watching. If you guys did like this video, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below, have you got your own Shop My Stash basket? Let me know. And finally guys, consider subscribing if you like the content and would like to stick around. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching, and I shall see you in the next video. Bye bye!